Here's my happy dance. I'm so excited. It looks gorgeous. Hi, I'm Barb Green, and today we're gonna make a classic lemon meringue pie. I've had a lot of practice at this one because it's one of my mom's favorites. So typically at birthday time, we find ourselves singing happy birthday to my mom with a lemon meringue pie and lit candles in it.
Happy birthday to you.
The filling is creamy, lemony, tangy, and it pairs so nicely with this light, fluffy meringue that we put on top, and we just bake it to a golden brown. It's so good. So let's talk crust for a minute, because we do need a crust. I baked this morning, and it is now cool and ready to use. This is my all butter crust. I'm going to put a link right here in the video for this. If you want to use your own favorite recipe, you can. You just need a single pie crust baked and cooled. I also have a recipe which will be in the description below, and that's an easier recipe, especially for beginners. If you're a little nervous about making a pie crust, I understand. I started there at some point myself. It's using shortening, and it's just much, much easier to work with. So feel free to check that one out. So you do need to bake a pie crust and get that ready and put it aside. So the key to this recipe is having all of our ingredients prepped ahead of time. There's a lot of fast moving parts once you get going and you've got your filling boiling on the stove and you're making meringues. So you want to make sure you have as much as you can prepped ahead of time. First thing we're going to do is zest 1 or 2 lemons. We need 1 tablespoon of lemon zest. And then we need a ½ cup of fresh lemon juice, which is 120 milliliters. So I'm going to go ahead and zest the lemons. You just want to use gentle pressure. You're trying to get the zest of the lemon. You want that bright yellow, but you don't want the white stuff underneath because that is bitter. There's really, really nice oils and flavor in this zest. It adds so much more flavor. I think there's more flavor in the zest than actually in the lemon itself. So we want to just get all of this zest off. This little thing works great. I ended up doing, one was kind of small, so I did like two and a half lemons. I did get a tablespoon of lovely zest. The whole kitchen smells like lemon right now. Now you want to just soften these a bit. If you just kind of roll them like this, even squeeze them, it kind of helps them break down a little bit and it makes them easier to juice. Some of them are softer and some of them are kind of firm. So before we juice them, it just helps. Then we're going to slice these and start juicing. I do want to say that you don't want to skip this step. You do want fresh lemons. There's no comparison to fresh lemons as opposed to the stuff that you get in a bottle or a jar. This is just so good. The flavor is so much more robust. It takes a little bit of time, but it's so worth it. So I've juiced 4 lemons. We're going to see what we have here. Remember, we need a ½ cup, and you definitely want to strain it because there's all kinds of pulp and some seeds make their way in, so you want to strain it. We're going for that ½ cup mark, and we made it. That's pretty awesome. And that's going over a little bit. So there we go. So now we have our lemon juice and our lemon zest. Next, we're going to get our eggs ready. We need 5 eggs, and they need to be separated. Eggs separate best when they're cold. So we're doing this now. And then meringue does best if the egg whites are at room temperature. So that'll give these time to just sit and come to room temperature. You don't want any yolk or anything in this. If you get yolk in your egg white, you just need to start over, or the meringue won't turn out. So we have 5 egg whites that we're going to use for our meringue. We're just going to put this aside so that it has a chance to come to room temperature. And the egg yolk, we're going to whisk this just for a moment. And this is going to go in our filling. This also we're sitting aside for now. We're not ready for it yet. Okay, so we want to have our meringue ingredients all prepped and ready. Once we start whipping the egg whites, they don't take long to get to the soft peak stage, and that's when you need to add all the other ingredients. So we have our 5 egg whites here coming to room temperature. We have 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We have 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar. That's for stabilization. We have 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. That's 100 grams. And then I have about 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla that I add in right at the last minute. I just like that little pop of vanilla flavor at the end. I'll have a link in the description below for these. These are really awesome. If you've ever done dry ingredients and then you need to use wet and you only have 1 set of spoons, these are really nice. Liquid, and then you have these for the dry. That's our meringue ingredients. So now we're going to prep our lemon filling, the yummy part. We need a medium saucepan. We're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 cup of cornstarch. This is going to be our thickening. This is 4 tablespoons. 1 cup of sugar, which is 200 grams. 1 1/3 cups of water. And then we're going to put in our 1/2 cup of fresh lemon juice. And our beautiful tablespoon of lemon zest. That's where all the flavor is. So come on over to the stove with me and let's get busy.
We're adding in our sugar, cornstarch, salt. We're gonna whisk for smoothness. Next, we're adding our lemon zest, our lemon juice, and water. And now we whisk, 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 whisk.
Just keep whisking. It'll be so worth it when it's all done. The fragrance of lemon is filling the kitchen. So it's always a good sign when you start seeing the steam. That means we're getting closer. Don't walk away from the pan at this point. Just keep whisking, keep at it. It can burn or stick on the bottom very easily if you're not careful. And we've been doing this about 4 or 5 minutes. It'll start to get a little clearer and it should start getting thick and bubbly. We're just waiting for those bubbles to start. Once it starts boiling, we're gonna let it boil for about 1 minute and then we'll move on to our next step. So I'm doing a happy dance here. It's starting to get thicker and clearer. That's a beautiful thing. And we have bubbles, woohoo! Now we're gonna set the timer for 1 minute and do not stop stirring. Whisk away. This is where it starts getting thicker. Oh, it smells so yummy. I can smell that lemon. So we want to remove this from the heat so it stops cooking for now. And the next step is adding our egg yolks in. If we just poured this into this hot mixture, we would have scrambled eggs in this lemon stuff. So what you do is, I'm gonna put this here. I transferred this into a larger bowl so I could whisk. We're gonna whisk this while we pour slowly a little stream of this hot mixture in. We're tempering the egg yolks. We're just bringing them up to a warmer temperature gently so that the eggs don't cook, because that would be really gross. We want this to be a really smooth, creamy texture. Just one more time. I'm just gently pouring in enough to get the mixture hot in here. And then if you want to come over here, I'll show you the next step. We have to go back to the stove. We're going to put it back on medium heat, and we're going to add our egg yolk into here. This is the final step, except for the butter, of course. We want to whisk that egg yolk in And we're gonna bring this to a boil again. It's already starting to come to a boil. And look how pretty that is. It looks like lemon filling, doesn't it? It's turning out so pretty. So we're gonna boil this for about a minute. If for any reason you feel like you got some egg bits in here, you can always put it through a strainer before you put it into the pie shell. Like you can run it through a strainer as you're putting it in the pie shell if you want to do that. This looks all smooth and it looks just fine, but if for some reason you feel like maybe that happened, feel free to use a strainer. So we're going to remove from the heat now. And we're going to stir in 2 tablespoons of butter. And that is just to add some creaminess to our mixture. Now we're going to go ahead and pour this into our pie shell. It is piping hot. Smells good. It looks beautiful. It filled that crust up very nice. And now we need to make our meringue. That is the next step. We're going to put our egg whites in our KitchenAid. You can also use a hand mixer if you don't have one of these. You want to make sure this is clean and grease-free. Egg whites are very finicky. We're going to put our ½ teaspoon of cream of tartar in. That's going to stabilize the egg whites. We'll put our whisk attachment on. And we're going to start whipping this together on medium speed. See if this is at the soft peak stage yet. We don't want it to go beyond that, and it is. Yay! Let me show you what that looks like. Soft peak. See that? So now we want to get it to the stiff peak stage. So we're going to keep this on high. We're going to add the sugar while we're blending it. We're going to add the sugar in a little bit at a time. This should take a couple of minutes. We're adding some salt just for balance. And then right at the very end, I like to add just a little bit of vanilla in for flavor. I'm going to go ahead and check it now. It's always better to check and be safe than let it go too far. And we're looking for a stiff peak now. And that is maybe just a little more. We'll try again. Oh, I can smell the vanilla in it. And now we have a stiff peak. Ta-da. Now we're going to put it on our pie. So now we have a lovely French meringue. Doesn't that look beautiful? It's white and fluffy, and it smells like vanilla. Now we're going to gently put this on the pie. I usually start at the outside and just make sure that all the edges are sealed. You want to get it right up against the crust, or when it bakes it pulls away and then it doesn't look as pretty. So that's kind of what I'm working at now. It's really shiny and pretty. We're going to bake this at 375 for about 10 minutes. I usually, once I get this all smoothed out, I'm going to put some peaks on it. And then I just kind of watch for those peaks to get golden brown, and it just looks so pretty. And then that's when I take it out. So here we go. We're just gonna add some swirls, and I like some of the peaks to just kind of stick up and then they get golden brown. Is that not beautiful? We did it. Let's get this thing in the oven. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Oh, it's almost done. Those peaks are getting golden and beautiful. I should shut the oven. So I think the meringue is done. It's been in there for about 8 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. I'm so excited. This looks gorgeous. Oh, look at that. It is so beautiful. Yay. Makes me so happy. So we need to let this cool for about 1 hour, and then we'll put it in the fridge for 3 or 4 hours. It really needs to cool before it's cut. Here's my happy dance. I'm so excited. It looks gorgeous. I can smell the vanilla. I can smell the lemon. I even think I smell the butter crust. So let's have a piece. It is so beautiful. I am so excited. I have to try a piece. Oh, it's so pretty. The filling looks so nice. The meringue is really, really light and fluffy. The tang of the lemon and that crust, yum, so good. This is a pie you can really be proud of. I hope you enjoyed making it. I hope that you picked up on some of the tips and tricks. And if you enjoyed this, I'd love for you to check out my apple pie recipe. It's also one of my favorites. Hope to see you there.